Alright guys, so here's the deal. Last Ditch 2. Okay. Back by popular demand, there was a lot of folks that, they missed out on the Last Ditch. This was actually one of the prototypes that I had made for Such. Did a fantastic job on the review for the Last Ditch. This is the Last Ditch 1. There's a couple different attributes that I just want to point out, how I changed this up a little bit. Now, what basically happened was I made these knives specifically for, just as a last ditch effort, and I think I've explained that enough, or to death I should say, so you're probably tired of hearing it, but the only thing this knife was actually made for was a backup weapon, or to skin an animal, or just something that, hey, I ran out of ammo, or I don't feel like carrying a big knife, and it's so small. It's only an 8-inch knife, so you got 4-inch handle, 4-inch blade, done deal. It's a short, stout beater knife. That's all it is. No frills, no nothing. So originally, what I did was make it for that. That's all it was made for. It was an idea. It was a concept knife, if you will. I used paracord handles. The reason I used paracord was to give a extra paracord if you needed it. All right. So it wasn't to be cheap on the materials or anything like that. It was just basically as a concept. I rather have more than less. Okay. So what I did is after Such did the review, I completely sold out of these knives. This is the first version of it, or actually this is a prototype of the first version of it, and I redesigned it, re-engineered it with Such's help, and a couple of other knife makers and reviewers. Talked about a couple things, as far as the grinds. A lot of people didn't like the chisel grind. A lot of people didn't like the fact that it was paracord handle instead of a micarta handle, stuff like that. Like, it's still going to be made at 5160 spring steel. I like 5160. I'm a huge fan of it. Some people don't like it. It will rust if you don't take care of it. I understand that. But again, this is a beater knife. This is something that's small enough that you can tie it to your leg, put it on the small of your back, put it on your gear, put it in your camera gear, and then when you need something for that last minute or whatever a case is, just pull it out, use it, throw it back in the sheath, and then forget about it. Or even throw it in your truck, whatever the case. So what I did is I re-engineered some of the parts. And this is what the new one's going to look like. Okay. We're going with a flat grind, okay, on both sides. It's not going to be chisel, it's not going to be hollow, it's going to be flat. A flat grind is a universal overall grind. It's good for cutting, good for chopping. It's very easy to sharpen in the field, so it's going to have that, okay. There will be a little bit of a finger choil. It probably won't be as prominent as that. I just wanted to blow it up a little bit. A lot of people were worried that their finger would slip past and cut themselves. Again, this is a down and dirty beater knife. It's not going to have all the bells and whistles. I did decide to put the holes, as you can see in this one, it's a 1/4 inch hole and there's only 2. We're going 3/8 and we're putting 3 in there. So if you did want to latch this to a stick to make a spear, you could do that. Okay. Handle size is probably going to be about the same. The overall length is going to be the same. The steel is going to be the same. The back end, I decided to add I want to say a glass breaker, although I wouldn't break glass with that end if you didn't have gloves on, because you could lacerate yourself very bad. The idea behind having that, it's not a skull crusher, okay? If you're going against somebody with a 4-inch knife as your last resort, you probably have more problems than you can handle. I never want to use a knife in any type of fight unless I have no other choice. But what this is supposed to be for is if you had to make a trap or bang up some rock or to break glass, you don't have to use your cutting edge for that. Okay, so that's why that's there. That's the reason why it's there. To save your edge, use the back end of it. You can use it inside the sheath. And again, this is not a big knife. We're talking about an inch handle, maybe 1.5 inch, 1.25 blade. All right, so it's not a very big handle. So that's it. So I'm going to start to lay this out, and I'll film it, and then when it's completed, I'll show everybody how it turns out. You can buy these on the website and just go up there. It's under the new knife heading. All right, so what I had done is I took my drawing and I made multiple copies, okay? I made multiple copies on my copy machine. And then I cut it out on a piece of paper. All right, this is the easiest way I know how to do it. I clean the steel with some acetone. And I'm just going to use a little bit of Elmer spray adhesive to spray it onto the steel itself. Again, this is not going to be water jetted, so a lot of folks were asking me, why, how long is it going to take, when will the steel be in. Basically, I'm looking, it's April, so I'm looking at maybe July. Hopefully I'll have them done before this July. And all this steel has to be cut. Ooh, I don't want it there yet. All this steel has to be cut and ground by hand. So that means it's a lot of work, guys. I mean a ton of work. So that's it. I just glue it on there, and as you can see, this is all bar stock. Once I get this done as a template, then I'll just line them up and just start cutting. As you can see here. Oh, Jesus. All right. So these are all 48 inches long by an 1.5 inch spring steel. It is a lot. I'm thinking I can probably make about 25 on this batch, providing I shut up and start grinding. So that's what I'm going to start to do. 5160, great steel, and I'm going to cut this out and I'll film it, and you guys can follow along, and you will see how much work is involved in all this. All right, guys. So alright, so during the initial phase, I'm going to cut this all out on my bandsaw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark off 8.5 on all my steel. Hopefully that's enough. And 8.5. Alright, so I'm going to cut 8.5 blanks. 8.5 inches blanks on all my steel just to get it ready, and then I'm going to cut them on the bandsaw. Alright guys, this is my Jet bow saw, heavy duty, Big Daddy. This is what makes it so freaking simple for me to do any type of cutting. I used to do a lot of it, actually I gotta bring that back a little bit, but I used to do a lot of it on with an angle grinder, and I gotta tell you, man, since I've had this, it's so much easier. Let's see how this fits. Just about where I want it, right there. Readjust. Make sure everything's nice and straight. Alright. And then all I do is that easy. That's a lot quicker than an angle grinder. Honestly, with this big bandsaw, I'm going to try to do at least 3 stock at a time. Make it very simple for me, or easier for me. Alright, just as long as everything's lined up, shouldn't have a problem. Right, so put a little clamp in there, makes things a hell of a lot easier than trying to frustrate and fight with this thing. It also would help if I had a little bit more room here, but being that this is my shop, it's the way it is. Alright guys, there you go. Like somebody once said, it's not the tools that make the knife maker, but I tell you what, it makes their life a lot easier. That's 30 potential blanks, 31 potential blanks in about, I don't know, 5 minutes. I cut all that bar stock up, so you know, like I said, that jet bandsaw is worth its weight in gold when you have to do everything by hand. So I'm going to start grinding on this and filming the progress. Alright guys, this is where the long and arduous task of knife grinding comes into play. It's a huge pain in the ass. It's just basically roughing out all the other stuff. Alright, so all this stuff needs to be roughed out to the line, all the way in the back, and I have to do that 31 times. Alright, so bear with me. I'm not going to film it all because it's probably going to take me all day to do it, but safety first. Make sure everything's locked in. Okay, so what I did is, I don't know if you could see the marks. I double marked some of them by accident, but I just wanted to measure out the 3/8 inch. Let's see if I can find it here. Alright. See the 3/8 holes? I just found the center line. That's why I like doing it on graph paper, because there's a lot of crosshairs, and I just put it over it, held it down, and just stamped it with a punch. And then what I'm going to do is throw it on my drill press, drill the holes. Alright guys, so basically what I got is I got all the holes drilled out, as you can see there. I did have to go with a 1/4 inch bit first to break the surface tension on the steel, because it is a thick, 1/4 inch thick. And then after that I followed it up with the 3/8. Also 1/4 inch drill bits are a lot cheaper than 3/8, and I always buy the contractor pack, so I have plenty of them. 3/8 is a little bit more expensive, won't break the bank, but in any case what I'm trying to do is get this little choil here. One of the complaints on the last knife was basically that it was not finger friendly, so if you manage to slip you might cut yourself. And as you can see, I gouged it out a little bit with the grinder. I'm going to use my I can't even say it, oscillating spindle sander. That's a lot to say. And I'm just going to refine that a little bit, and then when I get it back from heat treat, I will refine it a little bit more. I think this is a 3/4. All I'm really looking for is straightness. Quarter-inch steel is always going to take a lot longer. You know, it's one of those things. It's heavy. 5160s, heavy, thick steel. This is not something that you can rush. Might feel monotonous, but again, the proof is when you're done and the customer gets it. And not only that, but they tell their friends about it, and they absolutely have to have it. So this is what I use for basically straightening out. This is not by any means, this is not level right here. I could use the flat, but this is what I like about this, is that this table right here is super flat, 90 degree it's a 90 degree angle, and actually, hopefully this won't prove me wrong, but if you get your square, okay, 90 degree angle, that's how you can test. There's a little bit of light on top, but I'm not worried about that because I'm not grinding up here, I'm grinding down here. That's a perfect 90 degree angle. and that's how you get your blades really straight, especially on the thicker models. You can see that right there. See where it's not straight? Hard to see by the eye, but the grinder doesn't lie. Almost there. Nice and straight now. Alright guys, here's my template. Okay, as you can see from there, it's I didn't grind it yet. Alright, this is still annealed steel, but that's the template that I'm going to use to make 30 more of these. So it took me, I don't know, 3 hours to get to that, and that's with the all my tools. Alright, so now you can see why. If I took 3 hours just to do this, it still has to be ground, it still has to be sent to heat treat. From heat treat, it's got to come back. From there, I got to spend another 10 hours cleaning it up, putting the handles on, making the sheath for it. The tubes got to go in it. So now you can see why this takes so long. I have to do it 30 more times. Okay, so that's why a lot of guys do use water jet services. I like using water jet services, but this was like a special build specifically for Such and his followers, his subscribers. I know that he does some great work, and he's always helped me out in the past, and I felt really bad that his guys, the guys that actually wanted something like this, never got a chance. So now you're going to actually get the Last Stitch 2.0. This is the first phase. So I'm not going to film any more on this because, like I said, I'm going to send it to heat treat without it ground, and then when it comes back I'm going to grind it. I find that if I don't grind it until I get it back, there's a better chance of the blade remaining straight. It does beat up and eat up your belts a little bit more, and usually I wouldn't do a 1/4 inch, but again, I have 30 of these to do. So you know, the faster I get them out to heat treat, the faster I get them back, the faster I get them into your hand. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, this is just phase 1. You can pre-order these if you want. I don't usually take pre-orders, but I know there was a lot of guys that were worried about not getting one. So I have two people already pre-ordered. I'm gonna have 30 of them. So I don't think you have to worry, but if you want, it's up there. You can pre-order it. I'll put your stuff in a clipboard. First come, first serve, obviously, with 30 blanks. I don't think you have to worry about it, but again, it is what it is. By the way, after these 30 blanks, I will be water jetting them because I'm not doing this again. But, you know, just to give you guys a heads up. Alright, thank you. Go to 3riverblades.com if you are interested in doing a pre-order on this blade. It's under the new knife. As you can see on the website, I did some updates. If you just look down the menu and look for New Knife, you'll run right into it. It has the whole story about what I'm doing, what I'm making. All right, guys, thanks.